dangers of being a Christian is to think that we have all the answers. I do believe that Jesus Christ is the answer to life's most important question as to whether where we'll spend eternity or not. But to say that I have all the answers when it comes to suffering and evil would be very presumptuous of me. God knows everything, but I don't. And with that, I sort of introduced and we talked about, evil itself. And I want to tell you that I shared those opening remarks for 3 reasons. Number one, to speak about God and the purpose of evil has to be done with humility and honesty. Because people do not want trite answers and bad answers to the difficult things that happen in life. I admitted to them, and I admit to you, that I don't have all the answers to this whole question. The second reason I shared that is that part of me thinks that I do not really have a platform to speak when it comes to suffering. Because in all honesty, I haven't been through some of the horrible things other people have gone through. And so sometimes I question whether I even have a platform to talk about this. But be that as it may, the third reason I shared that with them is because when people are confronted with tragedy and evil, we wonder, where is God? We wonder, is God in control? And my sermon this morning is called, Where is God in a messed up world? And I want to, like I said, I'm going to share some scriptures as I go along, and then I'll read 1 Peter 1 a little bit later on. But let me just talk to you for a moment, and you can get right into it. I want to talk about 5 levels that we experience suffering and evil. And then I want to look at the scriptures for a moment. The first level I want to talk about is a personal level. And many of you have heard my story of my mother who died from an overreaction to Novocaine sitting in a dentist chair when I was 13 years old. She was 55 years old. We had to try to convince Mom to go to the dentist. She hadn't been to a dentist in 15 years. Her teeth were yellowish green. They were rotting. And we had to, as a family, convince her that she needed to go to the dentist and deal with this. Well, we finally got her to go to the dentist. She went to the dentist. The dentist took x-rays, and they decided, I don't remember if they were going to pull most of the teeth or all of the teeth and give her dentures, whatever it was. The next week, my brother Ed and I took my mom. My brother Ed was driving. She was sitting in the center. I was sitting on the side. They dropped me off at McDonald's because I was getting dinner, McDonald's, and so forth. And I walked home. And that was the last time I saw my mother alive. She had an overreaction to Novocaine. The fire department came. She was too afraid to take the oxygen mask. And she died. And my brother called me from the hospital and said, everything's fine, everything's all right. They didn't want to tell me over the phone. And so they came home, and I remember my brother Ed coming in, he's the first one, and he just started screaming, Mom's dead. And for the next 5 hours, I just cried. I had a twin brother, who never went to bed that night. You remember him still sitting in the bathtub, crying as we were going through this. Where is God?